Alright, so we're 11 days away from the start of the NBA season. And at the end of last season, we reviewed every team's season in 3 words or less. So now we're going to be predicting every team's season in 3 words or less. Before we start predicting every NBA team's season, if you haven't already, make sure you leave this video a like, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on one of our videos. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Oh man, the NBA is finally back. Sort of. Okay, yes, it's preseason, but you know what? It's basketball, and that's good enough. Plus, the regular season is what, like a little over a week away? I'm hyped, that's all I'm saying. Plus, Oregon and Washington are playing this weekend in the biggest game in the history of the rivalry. Certainly not losing any sleep over that game. We can't lose to him again. But you know what you won't be losing any sleep over is a great offer from DraftKings. In only 11 short years, DraftKings has grown from specializing in daily fantasy sports to an industry leader in sports entertainment. Not that one. Use our sign up expert link in the description, and when you bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus a no sweat same game parlay every day this season. So if you want a great sports gaming experience, use that link in the description to get started with DraftKings.
Atlanta Hawks, I said trade Trey question mark?
Trey, really?
I mean, if it doesn't work out this season, I think Trey is going to be shopped. There were already the rumors about him last season. DeJounte Murray and Trey, they got to work it out this season.
I resisted something like that. I just said very mid again. If you watched our last video, I said the most mid. They did very little to overhaul their roster except shipping out John Collins, so I think they're just going to be mid again. Boston Celtics, best starting 5. Their roster's got other problems. They don't have a lot of depth, and their front court defensive depth is not great, but if you just look at their starting 5 on paper, I think it's the best in the league.
Yeah, championship or bust. This team, that's the expectation. Either they win the championship or it's a failure. Jaylen Brown, highest paid player of all time. You got Tatum, you got the pieces now. They gotta win that title. Brooklyn Nets, is Ben back? If Ben Simmons can somehow return to just a fraction of what he was, I think this team would be set. Obviously, I love Mikal. They got Claxton. They got some good pieces. Can Ben Simmons return to what he used to be?
Oh, I would love it. I loved using him in All-Star Team Up in 2K. I just put solid 7 seed. I feel like that's what they're going to be. Mikal Bridges is going to be great. They got some decent players. Maybe if Ben Simmons is great or is good, they can be a little bit better, but I don't know. I just see 7 seed. Charlotte Hornets, Kai Jones trade. I mean, he requested it on Twitter openly. I think he gets moved at some point this season.
Yeah, either that or they waive him or something. I said a fucking mess. I mean, we just made the video about them. This team is just a mess. LaMelo's coming off an injury. You got Miles Bridges coming off felony abuse. Kai Jones, that situation, just a total mess altogether. Chicago Bulls, blow it up. It's time. Like we saw the Blazers blew it up recently. Their future's looking bright. The Thunder had to blow it up. The Jazz had to blow it up. Just blow it up. Trade DeRozan, trade Levine, get some pieces. It's time to start over.
That's why I said just give up. It's over. It's done. Like, you tried it. You had that one good year where you were the 5th seed. It's done. It's over. Cleveland Cavaliers, Mitchell trade talk. We're hearing a lot about Donovan Mitchell maybe not re-signing with Cleveland. I don't really get it because I think it's a great spot for him. But, I mean, if he doesn't sign a contract extension, he's going to be in trade talks. He just is.
I said playoff series win. Okay. They have to win a playoff series. This franchise has not won a playoff series without LeBron since 1993. They should have won last year against the Knicks. They have to win one this year. Dallas Mavericks, no playoffs again.
Really?
I'm just not buying it. Kyrie and Luka, they don't work together so far in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but they're not looking good. And Dwight Powell starting at center again, that's just not going to cut it.
I didn't quite go that far, but I did say backcourt won't work. Just 2 scoring guards who can't play defense. The rest of their roster doesn't have a lot of defenders either. But that backcourt, it doesn't work together. Denver Nuggets, Jokic wins MVP. Embiid got his one pity MVP. Maybe they'll give it to Giannis, but I think Jokic is going to have another great season. They're gonna be like, yeah, coming off the title, we can give him another MVP.
I hate to be a hater, but I said not enough depth. Ooh. I think that's gonna be the problem. Obviously, the starting 5 is stacked. Jokic and Murray, one of the best duos in the NBA, but you lose Bruce Brown, you lose Jeff Green, and they didn't really replace him with anyone. Detroit Pistons, Cade breakout year. I think this is the year Cade, he missed like all of last year. He puts it together. I love their young core. I think Cade has a breakout season this year.
I was less optimistic. I said second worst East. I don't see it. I really don't. I know you're a Cade fan. I'm not a Cade hater. I don't see star. I see like RJ Barrett. Maybe that's a little too harsh, but I don't know. Golden State Warriors, praying for downfall. We got their first round pick this coming year. I know it's top 4 protected, but we're praying for their downfall even more than usual.
I said too old. Like, this team is too old. Look at the roster. Chris Paul, 38. Rudy Gay, 37. Steph's 35. Clay's 33. Draymond's 33. They don't have enough young players. Sure, they got Moody. They got Kuminga. Wiggins isn't that old. Looney, but they're just too old at this point. Houston Rockets, culture reset. I'm not a huge fan of their offseason moves. Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, but I think those guys can come in. Sure, they're overpaid, but they just need a culture reset. They got some nice young players. The locker room was just a huge problem last year.
I said still really bad. I'm not a believer.
Oh, he don't believe. No. He don't believe.
Man. No.
Dylan Brooks at that amount of money. Ugh. Fred VanVleet, I mean, he's going to make a little bit of an impact, maybe, but I think they're still bottom 3 in the West. Indiana Pacers, trade deadline sellers. Keep Halliburton, get rid of everyone else. Send off Buddy Hield to a contender. Send Miles Turner off to a contender. Get some draft picks, get some young pieces, and just start over.
I said don't sleep. Do not sleep on this team. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy, but as a play-in, maybe sneak into the playoffs. Halliburton, obviously Mathurin. I like the additions of Bruce Brown and Obi Toppin. Don't sleep on this team. Los Angeles Clippers, all about health. That's the only thing that matters. Fully healthy, this team is good enough to be a contender. We just have watched them for like 4 years and they have been fully healthy. So if they can be healthy, they could contend this year.
That's why I said someone gets injured. It happens every year. Don't know who it's going to be, whether it's going to be Kawhi or PG or like a Norman Powell or someone. One of their key pieces is getting injured. Los Angeles Lakers, someone gets injured. It's what it is. Like LeBron and AD at this point are injury prone. One of them is going to miss significant time, and I think it's going to hurt the Lakers a lot.
I said ring number 5.
Oh, come on.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this might be LeBron's last chance to get ring number 5. And if he can do it, he can cement himself as the official GOAT. Memphis Grizzlies, all on Ja. This dude has to have a great season. Obviously, he's already out 25 games with suspension. The team around him is set. It's got great defensive players. You had Marcus Smart. If Ja's a real superstar, he needs to get it done this year.
I put somehow misses playoffs.
Wow.
If there's a shock team in the league that's going to miss the playoffs, I think it's Memphis. You mentioned the Ja suspension. He's going to be out, 20 games?
25.
25 games. I think this team might have some problems. Miami Heat didn't get Dame. Get fucked, Miami. That's all I got to say.
You, dude.
Yeah, I said back to reality. They had those just insane runs these past couple years. Shout out to the Heat, honestly. Incredible runs, but this year they're coming back to reality. They're not making a Cinderella run to the finals. It's just not going to happen. Milwaukee Bucks, best duo. They have the best duo in the league. Dame and Giannis, I'm so hyped to see them play together. Don't have a lot of depth, but they should still be the favorites to win the title this year.
That's why I put Dame gets ring. Dame, I think, gets his ring. He's finally got not only a supporting cast, he's got a fellow superstar next to him. I think he's going to have a great year. I think Giannis is going to have a great year. I think the Bucks are going to win it all. Minnesota Timberwolves, Ant averages 30. I think this could be a big breakout year for Anthony Edwards. I was really impressed with him when he played with Team USA. He's increased his scoring output every single season. He averaged like almost 25 points last year. I think he could break out as a 30-point per game scorer, maybe even like an all-star starter if the Wolves win enough games. I'm high on Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I said something similar. I said Anthony Edwards leap. I don't know if there's any player in the NBA that has more hype coming into this season than Anthony Edwards, and the team around him is pretty solid. If he can make this leap to be a superstar, the Wolves could be dangerous. New Orleans Pelicans, dark horse contender. Do not count this team out. Maybe I'll make a mistake hyping up Zion again, but he's looking skinnier. I think this is finally the year. Zion is healthy. He's a top 10 player in the league, and he dominates.
I'm kind of with you. I said Zion stays healthy. I think this is going to be the year. Now, is he playing all 82? Absolutely not. But I think he's playing at least 65, and I think the Pelicans make a little noise in the Western Conference. New York Knicks, Randall gets booed. It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, it will. I said big move needed, and probably Randall's the guy they need to trade. This team, it's got the foundation. You finally won a playoff series. It's time to make that big move, and Embiid needs to come to the Big Apple.
if Randall gets you Embiid,
Randall and a whole lot of other
they need
stuff.
to build a statue for that New York front office.
OKC Thunder, the deepest team. This team is literally at this point, it feels like it's too deep. You have the entire rotation coming back from last year. Then you had Chet, you had Cason Wallace, you had this Midchich guy. I don't know much about him, but he was a EuroLeague MVP. This team is so damn deep.
I said top 4 seed. I think this team takes a huge leap. Watching Chet the other day against Big Vic, he did get bodied on that one dunk. He also got headbutted though. I think he's gonna have a great year though. I think Shea has another great year. I think this team takes a huge leap. Orlando Magic, Banchero's sophomore slump. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Banchero's game. I see him as maybe taking a little bit of a step back. He's not gonna fall off a cliff or anything, but I don't see him taking another big step forward, you know?
Yeah, I said keep building. The Magic are an under-the-radar team, which is kind of weird because they had the #1 pick from last year and Banchero just won Rookie of the Year. I don't expect anything major, but just keep building. You got the solid foundation. Give it time, and they could be a pretty solid team in a few years. Philadelphia 76ers, Embiid ask out.
Whoa!
I'm not necessarily saying it's going to happen this year, but I think we're on the path there, and unless the 76ers do something major, like him and Maxey are not going to cut it, we are on the path to Embiid asking out soon.
I said doesn't trade Harden, and it's not going to be for lack of trying. It's going to be because no one's going to put forward a good offer for him. I mean, what? Are they going to take Terrence Mann from the Clippers?
Maybe.
That doesn't sound very appealing, so I think they're just going to be forced to ride it out with James Harden. Phoenix Suns doesn't win West.
Damn.
I don't like that this team doesn't have an actual point guard. I know the point guard position has kind of gone out the window when you got guys like Steph, Dame, Kyrie, who are just scorers from the point guard position, but Bradley Beal at point, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I said championship needed. They have to win a championship with this core. The Phoenix Suns have been so close for so many years. If they don't win a championship with this core, I just think the franchise is cursed. Portland Trailblazers? I said play-in team, question mark, maybe? If they keep this roster fully together, if they keep Brogdon, if they keep Grant, I think they could sneak into the play-in. Maybe I'm just biased and delusional, but I think they're good enough to do so.
Well, I mean, we added a whole bunch of new pieces. We added Scoot. We traded away arguably the best player in franchise history. Completely new roster. Only 4 dudes back from last year. So naturally, I said wins NBA championship.
What?
As a joke, obviously. Sacramento Kings, light the beam. It is the best, celebration in the NBA right now. I freaking love it. It's gonna happen a lot this year. Hopefully it'll happen more in the playoffs, but it's gonna keep happening.
Here's the thing. If they want to light that beam in the playoffs, what I said, need better defense.
Yeah, they do.
They had the best offense, I think, ever statistically last season, but they had the 3rd worst defensive rate in the league. That's not good enough come playoff time. If they get better on defense, then they can start being a contender. San Antonio Spurs, I said eyes on Wemby. Everyone is hyped to see him. I'm so excited to see him. Who cares if they're good this year or not or what happens? As long as Wemby looks good, it's a success.
Yeah, I cheated a little bit for this one. I said Wemby wins ROTY. I think it's going to happen as much as I would love to see Scoot win it. God, watching Wemby the other night play. Oh my gosh. Terrifying, honestly, as someone who's a fan of a rival Western Conference team. Toronto Raptors, trade Siakam midseason. Just give it up. Build around Scotty Barnes. Kind of the same thing as the Bulls and the Pacers. It's done. It's over. Get what you can for him.
I basically said the same. I said blow up deadline. And not just Siakam because OG's a free agent this year. Maybe you could bring him back. He's a nice young player, but that's a lot of risk letting those guys walk for nothing. I'd trade them both and just rebuild around Scotty Barnes. Utah Jazz, I said all the assets. This team literally has all the assets possible. They got good young players. They got future picks from the Cavs, future picks from the Timberwolves, future picks from the Lakers. They have Danny Ainge, one of the best GMs in NBA history. I'm excited to see what they do moving forward.
I put play-in team. I feel like they surprised everybody last year winning 37 games. I feel like most people had them pegged as one of the worst teams in the league. I think they can sneak up into that play-in range. Are they going to make the playoffs proper? No. But they're going to make the play-in tournament. Washington Wizards, by far worst. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league by 6 games. I looked at this roster. It's terrible. That's the point, but it's terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. But I said pool party. The team is going to be awful. But Jordan Poole is going to have the green light. He's going to take hella shots. And I would not be surprised if he averaged over 30 points a game this year.
He can average as many points as he wants. They're winning 14 games.
Yeah, probably.
That's the video, guys. What are your predictions for every NBA team season in 3 words or less? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. If you haven't already, make sure you leave this video a like, as it really does help us out. And while you're here, why not check out some of our other videos as well? And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.